So Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has ended on Disney Plus, and I'm going to give you a spoiler review of the series. So before I get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video and share it around. I'd really appreciate it, and let's get into it. Again, this is going to contain spoilers for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, so if you have not seen the series yet, I highly suggest watching it before watching this review. So I'm going to break this down into pros and cons. So let's get into the pros first. My first pro is the character work. Everyone feels really fleshed out and we get lots of time with all of these characters. The biggest surprise character for me was Lonnie. He sacrificed everything he worked so hard to get, like being on the football team, getting good grades in school, and he has to sacrifice all of that to protect his family. At the end of the season, we get the descent to him truly becoming Tombstone. The cast was really well done in this. Peter has everything Peter should have and should be doing. He's desperately trying to balance his life, and it never ends well. That's an essential element to Peter Parker's character. He's always trying to have a life with friends and do well in school and be there for Aunt May, and the superhero stuff takes him out of that and really affects his personal life on a really great scale. So that's an essential element for any Spider-Man story that you need to have, and this one had it, and it was really well done. Nico was a really great character to use as Peter's best friend. She was a really well done character that acts as a supportive cushion for Peter, much like Aunt May. Harry Osborn was cool. I think the influencer type take on the character worked for what they were trying to do. Now, Norman Osborn was amazing. Coleman Domingo perfectly captures Norman Osborn, and I would really love to see him in live action as Norman as well. It's a unique take on the character, but executed in a really great way that brings everything back to the true nature of Osborn, a slimy businessman with numerous cards close to the chest. In this series, he was replacing the role that Tony Stark served for the Earth 616 Spider-Man, and he's Peter's mentor in this, crafting him into becoming Spider-Man, giving him his suits, helping him in the field, all of that, and he kind of guides Peter in a way and kind of molds him into the Oscorp's version of Spider-Man, and I'll get to it more later, how Peter kind of breaks out of that. Aunt May was good for what she did in this season. She wasn't in it a whole lot, but she was good for when she was in the season. She's the voice of reason for Peter. When he's at his lowest point, she gives Peter the boost to go back out there and be strong. This is perfect for Aunt May. She's always there as the cushion for Peter. Whenever he needs that boost, whenever he's feeling down, it's Aunt May that motivates him to get back up, go out there, and be a strong person. Pearl was a really nice side character that was a good medium between Peter and Lonnie. Obviously, Peter has a huge crush on her. She was Lonnie's girlfriend for most of the season, and obviously with Lonnie taking a big character shift and going off with the 110th Street Gang, Pearl kind of felt lost, and Peter was there to support her through that. Really great character as a side and kind of a good medium, like I said, between Peter and Lonnie. My next pro are the action scenes. The choreography for the fight scenes were incredibly well done. The standout fights to me are the Scorpion warehouse scene, the Daredevil fight scene, which was perfectly done. When the Daredevil theme kicks in, that just gave me goosebumps, and I've watched that scene like 20 times since the episode came out. It's so well done. We need something like this in live action right now. The Otto Octavius escape scene when the police raid his warehouse was really cool. Just him kind of dancing around in all of his gears, taking out all of the cops and SWAT team, and eventually Iron Man swoops in and captures him. But it was really cool to see Otto use all of his tech to kind of just take out all these cops while he's just waltzing out of the warehouse. It was really cool. And then the final Scorpion fight with Peter and Lonnie teaming up to take down Scorpion in the street. Really cool scene, and that's where Peter begins to cross the line and gives in to what Norman tells him. I'm gonna get into that just in a second. So overall, the fight scenes were really well done and just really utilize Spider-Man's skills and what they can do in those fight scenes and how he uses his environment to do all that. It's really cool. My next pro is the animation. Now, the animation was the thing I was most cautious of going into this series, but I think it really worked for what they were trying to do. When I saw more of it and got a better idea of what they were doing, it looks really cool and works well. Some moments kind of took me out of it, like when the voice lines don't really match with what the mouth movements are or what they're doing, but they were very minor moments, and for the most part the animation was really good. It kind of has that really comic booky art style. I think I still would have preferred to see what at least a 2D animated style looks like, more in line with the comics, but this was a good medium between having it 3D while keeping the kind of Steve Ditko inspired art style. I think it was really cool. My final pro is the writing. Jeff Tramiel, the showrunner, truly understands Spider-Man. There's so many great moments between Peter and his friends or him and Norman that had really meaningful character moments. For example, the "with great power comes great respect" scene was really, I think, out of the blue for me, but it was really well done. And at first I was like, this doesn't make sense, but it does, coming from Norman. It throws off Peter's morals, and in the end he realizes he's gone too far with that kind of in the back of his head, and he goes back to his old ways. The "with great power comes great respect" line basically means the more power you have, the more people will respect you. And in Norman's case, he holds so much power in the city. He's a really successful businessman. He holds a lot of technological power as well, and people respect him for having that power. So he's basically saying Peter has all these abilities. People need to respect him for being as strong as he is. And in the end, he's like, that's not who I am. I'm a hero. The quips and humor with Spider-Man were perfect. These are essential elements of what makes Spider-Man an awesome character, and Jeff Tramiel did a great job of including those in all the right moments for this series. Now I'm into the cons, and my con is just a really big con, and that is the finale for me. In my opinion, the season could have ended at episode 9. So let me explain what I mean by this. At the end of episode 9, you have Spider-Man and Lonnie defeating Scorpion. Scorpion was a built-up villain over the season that eventually he was the big one at the end. There's closure between Peter and Nico. Nico doesn't like that Peter lied to her about being Spider-Man, but in the end, after Spider-Man saves her and he's kind of saving the city from Scorpion, she realizes he had every right to lie to me because he was saving lives. So that had some great closure between the two of them. Lonnie goes back to the 110th Street Gang and kind of assumes the role of leader. The Octavius tech is sent to Oscorp and teases that there's some slimy activity going into season 2. Norman trying to replicate the enhanced spider is a perfect cliffhanger for season 2, teasing the development of the Goblin Serum maybe. This would give him Spider-Man's strength and agility, which could be really cool. And I think that would have been a perfect cliffhanger leading into season 2, kind of teasing that, oh shit, Norman is up to something huge, and it could be leading to the Green Goblin. If the end moments of episode 10, like those montage moments at the end of episode 10, were in this at the end, I think episode 9 would have been a perfect finale. So episode 10 just felt like a really weird finale for me, in my opinion. It could have easily been the season 2 premiere. Norman reveals everything that Peter has been working on in his internship in the first season was being used for a space traveling portal. I think that would have been a really interesting concept to open up at the beginning of season 2. You get the introduction to the symbiote. Obviously the monster was in episode 1, but now the little bit of symbiote left behind from that fight could be a big focal point in season 2 if this was the premiere for it. Regardless, the symbiote probably will be a big focal point in season 2. The big questions with that is, will Norman keep it for himself, or will he have Oscorp perform tests on it, giving it an opportunity to latch to Peter down the road? It was cool seeing Peter and Strange working together. Shows that Peter can work as a team player. The time/destiny like loop thing was a weird choice for me. I'm not really sure how to feel about that still. I'm gonna have to let that sit with me, but it was a strange but also kind of interesting choice. Another question I have is, why is the Watcher there? Like, was this a loose end that initially this was supposed to release before What If Season 3? Because now it's after What If Season 3 and it kind of feels weird seeing him now that, like, obviously he's still watching the multiverse, but I think this would have been a bigger thing if it came before What If Season 3, kind of teasing, oh, Spider-Man's gonna come back in What If. I think that's what it was kind of leaning towards. Webb, the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, feels like a really strange decision for Peter. If he's had trouble balancing his personal life with being Spider-Man, why is he creating a startup for young minds like him? I understand that Harry and Nico are a part of that as well, but Peter has a lot on his plate right now, and this season proved that balancing school, a personal life, and being Spider-Man was a lot for Peter. So it was just kind of, it felt weird that Peter's kind of wanting to become like his own entrepreneur, much like Oscorp, and becoming his own entity. It just seems like that's a huge like side thing for him to do on top of already being Spider-Man, and he still has school and he still has a personal life. It just seems like a really strange decision now. Maybe if Peter was older and he had a much better handle on things, it would have been a better time. But I think with right now, him being a freshman in high school, that's a ton of responsibility right there. And Peter becoming his own unit separate to Oscorp is key. I'm so glad they did this. Peter has gone through the mentorship phase, learned what works for him, and learned he can be taken advantage of and becomes his own fleshed out hero. This is perfect for Spider-Man. He has to be his own hero. And yes, we got the mentorship in the main MCU with Tony Stark, and now we've got his mentorship with Norman Osborn in this. But after each of those mentorships, he's become his own hero and has learned from those mentorships how to be the best Spider-Man possible. So overall, I'd give this season a 9 out of 10. The only thing that brought it down for me was the finale. It just felt like it really could have been the season 2 premiere. Had some strange decisions in my opinion, but I think overall this was a really great series, really great entry point to Spider-Man for a lot of people. I know it's not true to the comics in a lot of ways, but with those essential elements for Peter, with Spider-Man, with being his own entity, it was really cool to see that, and I can't wait for season 2. It has been greenlit for season 3 as well, so that's really cool to see that they are expanding it past 2 seasons. And yeah, bring on the Green Goblin. I can't wait to see Norman take on that role in the future. With all that being said, let me know what you thought of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the comments below. Again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it around. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching.